Ma'am, please can I use your phone? I'm lost.
Tasha was locking up the clothing boutique where she worked when her eyes caught a glimpse of a figure walking towards her. A black teenage boy, maybe 17, average build, with piercing dark eyes. "Ma'am," he said, his voice hoarse, "I'm sorry to bother you. Can I please use your phone? I'm lost." Her first instinct was fear. She gripped her keys between her fingers, the way she'd learned in self-defense videos. Then she took a step back. I think you should go to the police station. It's 2 blocks that way." His eyes went wide with panic. "No, please, I can't go to the police." Tasha's fear worsened. "Look," she said, trying to sound firm, "I don't know what's going on, but I can't." "Please," his voice cracked. "I just need to make one call." He looked down at his torn clothes, his shaking hands. "And I don't have anywhere to go tonight. I promise I'll leave in the morning. I won't cause trouble." She wanted to say no and walk away, but something in his face stopped her. He wasn't aggressive, he wasn't threatening. He was terrified, and he was somebody's child. She thought about her boys. If they were lost, hurt, or scared, she'd want someone to help them. So she did something stupid. "Okay," she said, "one night. But you leave first thing in the morning. Understood?" He nodded, relief flooding his face. "Yes, ma'am. Thank you." But Tasha had no idea what she was getting herself into. She just made a decision that would change her life forever. Thank you for visiting Eleosity Studio. Before we continue, please hit the like button if you're enjoying this story and drop a comment. What would you do if you found yourself in a similar situation with a stranger? Tasha drove him to her apartment in silence. He sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window. He didn't ask questions, didn't try to make conversation. Every now and then she glanced over. His hands were shaking. When they got to her building, she unlocked the door and let him in. Her 2 boys, Jalen, 11, and Corey, 8, were on the couch watching TV. They looked up, confused. "Boys," she said carefully, "this is Bennett. He's going to stay with us tonight. He's had a rough day." Corey, always the curious one, tilted his head. "What happened to your face?" "Corey," Tasha said sharply. Bennett gave a weak smile. "I'm okay, little man. Just had a bad fall." She didn't push it. She sent the boys to their room and told Bennett to sit on the couch. She grabbed a first aid kit from under the bathroom sink. She sat next to him and opened it. "Let me see." He turned his face toward her. Up close, it was worse. The bruise on his cheekbone was deep purple. The cut on his lip was still bleeding a little. His jeans were torn at the knees, but not just for fashion, they were violently ripped. His white t-shirt was stained with dirt and something darker. Blood, maybe. One eye was swollen. She cleaned his wounds with antiseptic wipes. He flinched but didn't complain. "Who did this to you?" she asked quietly. He paused for a long moment. Finally, he said, "People who wanted something from my family." She didn't know what that meant, but she didn't ask. She bandaged the worst of it, then handed him a clean t-shirt that used to be her ex-husband's. "Bathrooms down the hall. You can wash up." "Thank you," he said. While Bennett was in the bathroom, she let him use her phone. He dialed a number, spoke in hushed tones for less than a minute, then handed it back to her. "They know I'm safe now. Thank you." She heated up the spaghetti she'd made earlier. She'd portioned it for 3, her and her boys. Now there were 4 of them. She did the math in her head. If she gave Bennett a full plate, she'd have to skip hers. She'd eaten a granola bar at work. She'd be fine. She served the boys first, then Bennett. Then she sat down with a glass of water and pretended she wasn't hungry. Bennett noticed. "Ma'am, you didn't take any." "I ate earlier," she lied. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he scooped half his spaghetti back into the pot. "I'm not that hungry anyway." She wanted to argue, but honestly, She was starving just as much as she was exhausted. "Thank you," she said quietly. They ate together. The boys asked Bennett about school, sports, video games. He answered patiently, even smiled a little. He sounded intelligent. For a moment, it almost felt normal. After dinner, she gave him a blanket and a pillow. "Couch is all yours." "Thank you, ma'am. Really." She went to bed almost immediately after. Her mind wandered for a moment, wondering if she'd just made a big mistake letting a stranger into her house. She dismissed the thought. Soon she was fast asleep. She woke up at 6 a.m. to the sound of engines. Loud engines. She sat up, heart pounding. When she looked out the window, 5 black SUVs were parked outside her building. "Oh my God," she whispered, terrified. She threw on a robe and ran to the living room. Bennett was already awake, standing by the window. His face had gone pale. "Bennett, what?" Before she could finish, there was a heavy knock on the door. She opened it. Federal agents walked in. At least 6 of them, dressed in tactical gear, and behind them a man in uniform, tall, mid-40s, buzz cut, sharp jaw. His eyes were red like he hadn't slept in days. He pushed past the agents and stopped when he saw Bennett. For a second, no one moved. Then the man's face crumpled. "Bennett," he choked out. Bennett ran to him. "Dad." Tasha's eyes dropped to the silver eagle on his collar. Her breath caught. He was a colonel. He grabbed his son and pulled him into his chest. His arms wrapped around Bennett like he was trying to shield him from the entire world. His shoulders shook violently. He pressed his face into Bennett's hair and let out a sound that was halfway between a sob and a gasp. "I thought I lost you," he whispered, his voice breaking. God, I thought—" Bennett was crying too, his face buried in his father's uniform. "I'm okay, Dad. I'm okay." The colonel pulled back just enough to grip Bennett's face in both hands. His thumbs traced the bruises on his son's cheeks, the split lip, the swollen eye. His jaw clenched. Tears streamed down his face. "Who did this?" His voice was low, dangerous. "I'm fine," Bennett said quickly. "I got out. I'm fine." The colonel's hands were trembling. He pulled Bennett back into his arms and held him again, tighter this time, as if he was afraid Bennett might disappear if he let go. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, Dad." Finally, the colonel pulled back. He wiped his face with the back of his hand, then seemed to remember where he was. He turned to Tasha. "You're Tasha?" She nodded, unable to speak. He looked at Bennett. "She's the one?" "Yes, sir." The colonel walked over to her. Up close, he was even more intimidating, but his eyes were soft, vulnerable. "My son told the agents what you did," he said. "You took him in, fed him, gave him a place to sleep." She shrugged, embarrassed. "He needed help." The colonel glanced toward the kitchen. The pot of spaghetti was still on the stove, barely anything left. One of the agents leaned in and whispered something to him. The colonel closed his eyes, took a breath. When he opened them again, teardrops had formed. "You gave him your food." She didn't know what to say. He reached out and took her hand. His grip was firm but gentle. "Thank you." 2 days later, there was another knock on her door. This time, it was just the colonel. No agents, no SUVs. Just him in civilian clothes, holding an envelope. "May I come in?" She let him in. He sat at her kitchen table, the same one where Bennett had eaten spaghetti. He slid an envelope across the table. She opened it. Inside was a check. $200,000. She stared at it. I can't." "You can," he said firmly. "And you will." He pulled out another folder. "This is a scholarship fund for Jalen and Corey. Full ride. K-12 through college. Graduate school if they want it." She couldn't breathe. She started crying. "You saved my son's life," he said quietly. This is the least I can do." 6 months later, Tasha had opened her own boutique with the cash gift. Standing there during the opening ceremony, she still couldn't believe it was real. Bennett came. He was in uniform now, enlisted, following his father's path. He handed her a small frame. Inside was a pencil drawing. It showed him asleep on her couch, her blanket pulled up to his chin. "I drew this from memory," he said. "I want you to remember that your kindness saved me, and I'll always be grateful." She hung it behind the register, and every time she looks at it, she remembers. Sometimes the people you help become the family you didn't know you needed.